can I find this man?
The movie begins with a man called Hutch Mansell sitting bruised and heavily injured in an investigation room, and two FBI agents were interrogating him. He gracefully lit a cigarette and began smoking. One of the agents asked him to reveal his identity. Then, Hutch revealed himself as nobody while feeding a cat from a can. The film then flashes back to Hutch's dreary suburban life with his wife Becca and their children. One night, some burglars broke into Hutch's house. Hearing the unusual noises, Hutch and his son Blake woke up and headed downstairs to investigate. Hutch discovered two thieves breaking in, so he quietly tried to contact the police but got caught by the burglars. Then, it is revealed that one of the burglars was a female, and she threatened him to hand all of his money to her.
Now!
The male thief told his mate that he couldn't find anything worth stealing in the house. Right then, the male thief was ambushed by Blake, who took down the male thief. Hutch rushed to hit the female thief with a golf club, but couldn't swing it in the end. Instead, he asked Blake to let the thief go. Reluctantly, Blake released the thief, but received a blow from him in return. Afterward, the thieves stormed out of the house, leaving the house in complete disarray. Blake was disappointed with his father for not striking the thief in time. After a while, the police arrived at the crime spot for the investigation, interrogating Blake. Meanwhile, Hutch stood outside the house, discovering that the thieves broke into his house from the back door using a pizza box. Just then, a cop approached and asked him why he didn't swing the golf club when he had the chance to take down the thief. Hutch replied that it was a lady thief, so he held back. After that, the police left. This incident nearly disturbed Hutch's peace of mind, prompting him to retreat to the basement and lie on the couch. The next morning, Hutch rushed outside with a dumpster to dump the garbage, but the garbage truck already sped away honking, leaving Hutch in frustration. In the following scene, Hutch's neighbor indirectly taunted him for not striking the thieves on the dot and wished that the thieves would have picked his house so that he could have used the exercise, embarrassing Hutch before his son. Then the neighbor began boasting of a splendid car. Later, Hutch arrived at William Manufacturing Limited Company, where he worked. There, he met Charlie, his brother-in-law. Charlie also got to know about the burglary at Hutch's house. He also asked him the same question that the cop asked Hutch earlier, meaning why he didn't take down the burglar. Hutch replied that he didn't want to aggravate the situation, and that's why he didn't go at the thieves. Then, Charlie handed him his gun, asking him to use it in times of need. Hutch hesitantly takes the gun. However, he later places it in a fridge inside a box and walks away. At the office, Hutch's boss, Eddie Williams, who is his father-in-law as well, suggested to him that he should buy this office, but Hutch plainly refused as he wasn't in a mood to buy it at this time. Afterward, he came straight to his office, turned on the radio, and spoke with his brother Harry over the radio. Harry asked him to tell him about the previous night. Then, Hutch told him that there were two of them, a man and a woman. The thieves seemed to be a bit scared and desperate. Hutch further explained that his gun was unloaded, leaving Harry completely baffled. Later, Hutch arrived at a nursing house to see his father, David Mansell, and found him well. Thereafter, he returned home, meeting his lovely family. Hutch's little daughter informed him that she can't find her kitty cat bracelet, and it seemed that the thieves made off with it last night. Hutch thought for a while and walked away. He returned to the old age home where his father lived. He opened the closet, put on a jacket, and grabbed his father's FBI identity card and a gun. Then, he went out to search for the burglars who had broken into his house a few nights earlier. After a while, Hutch arrived at a tattoo parlor and interrogated tattoo artists present there.
Who are you? Yeah, well, you probably shouldn't flash cheese like that around me.
Better? People who are seeking to intimidate and people...
Right then, one of the artists sitting nearby noticed a tattoo on Hutch's wrist and immediately left in fear, locking the door from outside. Later, Hutch asked the main artist to send him in the direction where he could find a person with this tattoo. Now the scene cuts to a couple living happily. The lady calls out to Luis to have dinner. Shortly afterward, Luis arrives. However, Hutch also sneaks into their house and attacks Luis, demanding he return his watch and kitty cat bracelet. This means that this is the couple of thieves who broke into Hutch's house.
Give me the goddamn kitty cat!
Hutch storms out of the house and begins punching the wall, letting out his frustration. Then, he boards an almost empty bus to reach home. Seconds later, a speeding car filled with goons pulls up after crashing into the barricades, violently jolting the bus. The drunken goons get out of the car and begin messing around. Soon they board the bus and begin to misbehave with an onboard passenger while Hutch watches from the back. Upon finding a girl alone in her seat, the ruffians start molesting her. Hutch rises from his seat and approaches the lady driver and forcibly turns her out of the bus for her safety. Then, he locks the door, unloads his gun, and goes at the hooligans.
What are you?
After teaching them a lesson, Hutch gets out of the bus, hands the keys over to the lady driver, and leaves. He returned home severely injured and bruised. Then, he headed upstairs but was seen by his wife Becca, who immediately understood what Hutch did outside. Becca treated his wounds while telling Hutch that she would always stand by him no matter what. The scene then shifts to a Russian city called Obshak. There, a drug lord named Yulian Kuznetsov enters a club run by him. He gets on the stage and begins dancing side by side with a female Russian singer. Afterward, he gets off the stage and moves among the drunk and intoxicated people. There, a man stares at him, and Yulian takes note of it. He warmly welcomes his partners in crime. One of the partners asks Yulian why he has a black man on his crew. Offended, Pavel, a black Russian, warns them to choose their words wisely. Another associate tells Yulian that his dancing and singing are inappropriate for someone who protects their tons of cash, and that this would negatively affect his influence. Enraged, Yulian smashes a wine glass onto the counter. Then he attacks the same man who dared to stare at him earlier, eventually killing him. Shortly afterward, he receives a phone call from his henchman. Later, he arrives at a hospital where he finds his younger brother Teddy lying savagely wounded. Yulian breaks down in tears while the doctor tells him that Teddy will never walk again. Then, he enters another ward, finding another one of his men in a hospital bed.
He attacked us unprovoked.
One man!
Please don't get more mad.
Your words may be correct. How can I find this man?
At his house, Hutch prepares breakfast for his family and applauds Blake for taking down the thief. Soon his phone rings with Harry on the other end. Harry explains that Hutch has a big problem because he thrashed some men on the bus, and one of them was Teddy, the brother of Yulian Kuznetsov, a Russian drug mafia boss. Harry advises him to approach the barber, who might know something about Yulian. Hutch then goes to see the barber and asks him about Yulian Kuznetsov. The barber hands him a file containing information about Yulian. He tells Hutch that Yulian is a very dangerous man and that collecting art is his hobby. Meanwhile, Yulian's assistant locates Hutch's father at a nursing home. She then contacts a man at the Pentagon and blackmails him into uncovering Hutch's past. Panic-stricken, the man retrieves a file from the archives belonging to Hutch Mansell and sends it to Yulian's assistant. Upon uncovering Hutch's dreadful past, Yulian's assistant quickly packs up her belongings and quits her job on the spot. Meanwhile, Hutch enjoys dinner with his family at home and plans a trip to Italy. Not long after, he notices several cars speeding toward his house and immediately becomes alert. He urges his family to hurry and sends them into the basement. Then, he cuts the power to the entire house, plunging it into darkness. On Yulian's orders, a group of armed mercenaries led by Pavel breaks into Hutch's house and starts searching for him in the dark, unaware that Hutch is already prepared. However, he is eventually caught, dragged out of his house, and beaten severely. The mercenaries then stuff him into the trunk of a car and drive away. Moments later, Hutch regains consciousness, removes his handcuffs, and realizes he is in a moving car. Quietly, he grabs hold of a fire extinguisher and uses it against them. Hutch escapes from the car severely bruised and injured and makes his way back home. On the way, he calls his father and warns him to stay alert. When Hutch returns, he finds his house covered in blood with mercenaries lying dead or wounded. He unlocks the basement door and frees his family. Later, he sends them to a safer place before more danger arrives. Left alone, Hutch collects several gold plates into a bag. Later, as the subdued mercenaries sit bruised and broken on the couch after his brutal counterattack, Hutch sits down in front of them and begins to talk. He recounts a story from his past about a man named Alan who once skimmed $3 million from a U.S. military base in Rivolto, Italy. I managed to catch him, and he started begging me to spare his life. Usually, I would pull the trigger, but this time I listened, realizing that Alan genuinely regretted his choices. He wanted nothing more than to shed his wolf skin and return to the pasture as a lamb. So I quietly let him go. A year later, I went back to check on him and found him living a peaceful and simple life with his lovely wife and 2 daughters. He was working a 9-to-5 job. That's when I decided to live the way Alan lived, so I resolved to move out of the game. After narrating this story, Hutch, who had been living as an assassin, turned around to find the mercenaries dead. He set them ablaze, then set his own home on fire before walking out. Turning his attention to his neighbor's car, whose owner always flaunted his power, Hutch broke the window, got inside the beat-up vehicle, and sped away. Outside a nursing home, 2 goons sent by Julian arrived, searching for David, Hutch's father. They quietly entered while David pretended to be asleep. Just as they prepared to blow his head off, David snatched their gun and killed them with his shotgun. Meanwhile, Hutch returned to his office, pouring gold bricks onto the table in front of Charlie, his brother-in-law. He told them he wanted to buy the factory. David quickly agreed to sell, but Charlie opposed the idea, prompting Hutch to do this to him.
We put our... Okay. I don't give a shit.
Elsewhere, Julian received a phone call about the failed car ambush that was meant to capture Hutch alive. After purchasing the factory, Hutch begins preparing for the inevitable brutal clash with Yulian Kuznetsov, head of the Russian mafia, who is now madly looking for him. Later, Hutch broke into a building where Julian had hidden millions in cash. He fought and killed the guards while Julian was busy entertaining guests at his club. Hutch set the money ablaze, crippling Julian financially. Afterward, Hutch calmly walked into the club and sat down for a meal right across from Julian. When Julian approached, praising Hutch's daring, Hutch revealed a bomb on the table, holding the pin in his hand. Julian immediately ordered his men to back off. Hutch tells him that the dormant side of himself has reawakened and that he wanted badly to see this through. He revealed to Julian that he has destroyed all of his money, driving Julian into a frenzy. Hutch explained it was the result of Julian's own actions against him and his family. Julian, enraged, admitted that he sent his men to attack Hutch's home because Hutch had beaten his brother so badly on the bus that he later died. Hutch suggested Julian should disappear to some obscure Caribbean island and live in peace, opening a bar far away from him. Then Hutch walked out. Julian, however, fired at him from a distance and ordered his men to give chase. Hutch lured them to his factory but found himself surrounded. At that moment, his brother Harry appeared and opened fire to protect him. Soon after, Hutch's father, David Mansell, burst in with a shotgun and joined the fight. Together, the 3 retreated into the factory, preparing for Julian and his men. When Julian's crew entered, They fell into Hutch's deadly traps, and their numbers rapidly fell. Amid the bloody battle, Harry was struck by a stray bullet fired by Julian himself. Hutch strapped a bomb to his shield and charged at Julian, killing him instantly in a massive explosion. Though injured, he survived and was helped up by David and Harry. As police sirens wailed outside, Hutch told them to leave and let him handle it on his own. Just before being taken in, he discovered a stray cat hiding in a pipe and gently carried it out. He was then seen in an interrogation room with 2 FBI agents, which tied back to the opening scene of the story. When asked who he really was, Hutch replied simply, "Nobody." Before they could continue, both agents received a simultaneous phone call. In the final scene, Hutch and his wife Becca were shown visiting a new house with a realtor. The realtor handed Hutch her phone, saying, "It's for you." Hutch answered the mysterious call, became visibly unsettled, and then asked the realtor if the house had a basement, and with this question, this movie ends.